In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the letter X using a rubber band loom. I'll be using a rainbow loom, but you can use any brand of loom that has the pins in a straight row. And since I'm only going to be working with one row of pins, I've removed the other two. But if you have a loom in which the pins don't come off, that's okay. And we're going to start with the arrows facing away from you. And you will need 20 rubber bands to make the letter X. And for every band that I place on, I'm going to put it on my hook, twist, and put it back on in order to double it, so you can see the two bands on the hook. I'm going to start on the end and just place it on the next pin up. So every band is going to be doubled, and it's just going to go to that next pin up every time. I'm going to go the length of 8 rubber bands going up the loom. And also, as you're placing these on, you want to make sure that you're pushing them down to the bottom of the pins, because in some spots we're going to be adding a second layer, so you want to have room to add that on. So that was my 6th band. I have 2 more to do. And now what I want to do is go to the 5th pin up from the end of the loom. So if you start back here at the beginning and you count to that 5th pin, that's where we're going to place our next layer, and it's going to go from the 5th pin up to the 6th for this first band. And I want to place a total of 4 bands going up the loom. So it's going to end at the same spot as where the first layer ended. So I'm going to do one more here. And now I want to place a cap band on the very end pin, and it's going to be quadrupled. So I'm just going to place the band on my hook, twist, put it back on, twist, put it back on, twist, and put it back on. So you see 4 rubber bands, and it's going to go right on the end, at the top. And if you find that your bands aren't very stretchy and you're struggling to quadruple the band, you can just triple that. Now I'm going to turn my loom around so the arrows are facing towards me. And I want to loop this top layer. So I'm going down through the end, pushing back on the top 4 bands, and grabbing those next 2. I'm not doing anything to this very bottom layer just yet. And I'm moving those bands ahead. I'm going to just keep grabbing the top 2 bands and make my way up. So I've gone the length of 4 bands, and I'm now at the top here of this layer, and I want to remove it everywhere except for the center part here. So I'm going to place my thumb over that pin, put my hook down through the cap band, and I'm going to pull these off. And now I want this to angle out and to the right. I want it to be slanted. And now I'm going to push this down to the bottom, and I'm going to turn my loom around again, and I'm going to loop 4 more bands starting from this same point here where I have the one piece of the X already looped. So I am going to put 4 more bands going up the loom. This is going to form the other half of that part of the X. And now I need to place a cap band on the end here again. So I'm going to quadruple the band. put it on the top. And now I'm going to turn the loom around again. And once again, I'm going to loop this top layer. So I'm going down through the end. So I'm grabbing the top two, hold this cap band in place, and I'm just going to loop this top layer once again. And now I'm going to place my thumb over this pin, and I'm going to get these bands I looped to come off. And this time I want it to angle diagonally up and to the left. And now I'm going back to the bottom here, the one that's closest to me. I'm going to place another cap band. And now what I'm going to do is loop the rest of these bands. So I am putting my hook down through, getting those bottom two, and I'm just going to work my way up to the top. Now on this pin it's very full. You may have to push it down just a little bit to have room to loop this. And now you're going down through and you're pushing back on all of these upper bands. You're just worried about the bottom two. You want to grab them and carefully bring them up through. It's going to be very tight because there are so many bands, so I would suggest just slowly wiggling it back and forth until you feel it loosen. Move that ahead. And if you feel like it's still a little bit too tight, you can just take your hook and just trace around that pin. Just be careful not to put too much pressure on your hook. And now I'm just going to continue up to the top. And now you should have one rubber band left. So you're going to take your hook and put it down through the middle of this last pin, push it out to the side, grab this last rubber band and pull it up through, put it back on your hook, and now you can carefully remove the rest of these rubber bands, and it's going to be very tight where the X crosses. And now you want to take the end of the rubber band that's closest to the end of your hook and loop that through the other one and pull that tight to make a slip knot. And then here is your letter X. And you can adjust it if it needs any adjusting. And here is another X that I made using light pink rubber bands. So hopefully you've enjoyed this tutorial. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook, post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of my latest tutorials. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those as well. Thanks for watching!